Hi, I'm Davide Mengoli and I'm going to take you today on an amazing journey, what I would like to call a forgotten beauty. Yes, I like to explore places that are being completely forgotten, but once upon a time there were the places. You know, like, I mean, you may think of Buckingham Palace in the UK and imagine that one day becoming just like this place that we're going to explore together. Now I'm going to take you on a journey. This is a very interesting location. It's called Villa Scrasceta. We're going to do a little bit of transpassing. It's totally abundant and there is so much history that goes with this place. We may come across a few snakes. I've gone around and had a look and I have come across a few already, but hopefully they'll stay away. Vegetation is overgrown and that's why they're here, not other reasons, but already we were greeted by these two big columns as the entrance of Villa Scrasceta. Now Villa Scrasceta was also known by the local, by La Villa dei Pupi. Now what's pupi? Pupi, it's in kind of dialect or Italian, may give the idea of some puppets or some statues. And this is the road that leads to Villa Scrasceta that you're going to see. For me, and actually for history, if you research it, it's one of the best examples of late Baroque architecture that can be found in Salento. So when we say late Baroque, we are talking about mid-17th century, because the Baroque started a bit earlier where the Spanish were here and then it continued. And right to greet us at the two columns, we have this initial building over here, which maybe it was constructed later, or maybe it was a building for the people working the land. This land around here was very fertile, was producing a lot of wine, a lot of vineyards. As we go around, you're still going to see some vineyards which are a little newer, but they're still part of the agriculture around there. Now, we said that the official name, it's Villa Scrasceta, but the local know it as Villa dei Pupi, or statues, or puppet. Why? Well, can you see, starting from here, on both sides, and moving along, we really need to be careful as we're moving along. We don't come across some interesting animals or creatures, but anyway, I'm not worried. I'm not scared of them. I love them, actually. Yeah, I'll travel around the world looking for them. But anyway, that's another story. And you see all along these pillars, the reason why it was called Villa dei Pupi, it was because there were statues, but just the half body, half bust statues were positioned on top of this. And what were the statues of? Well, apparently there were statues of very happy statues. They were statues of people playing the mandolin or the tambourine, eating a big watermelon or with a rifle across, and this was kind of a leading path to the main building. So it was an opportunity for the visitor to see how happy and rich this place was. Now, these are not masseria. This is not a masseria. This is villa. And what's the difference? Well, the masseria, there were fortified places, you know, with walls around and protecting stock, livestock, protecting the people in it from the incursions of the Saracen, you know, the people coming from Turkey. Well, in the 17th century, that threat was gone. So the trend started, the beautiful trend of coming out from fortified cities, and the wealthy people could build a beautiful villa in the countryside. Can you hear the sound? Magic, huh? Yeah, it's a kind of magic. But yes, so this trend started, you know, they wanted to build these villas to show their wealth. They really didn't need to protect themselves against anybody. The threat of the Saraceni or the Turkish was gone. So the need of a masseria with a fortified walls was gone. So this was very much a demonstration of wealth. And so as we approach the villa, you're going to see some elements of architecture, which I remember the first time 2 years ago. I was here on holiday and somebody took me to see this place and we trespassed because this is what we're doing. But anyway, it's all open. Did you see a gate? I didn't see a gate. So anyway, I'm going in. Hopefully this video doesn't incriminate me, but anyway, that's all right. I'll deal with it. But anyway, we need to go across here, and hopefully we don't get caught or scratched, and there isn't any animal on the other side waiting for us. Looks all right. We'll just duck here and we'll just go through here. Yes, be careful, Davide. Yeah, that's fine. We're on the other side. So yes, so these statues all positioned along here gave the name Villa dei Pupi. So people approaching the villa, they were already changing their state of mind because they were coming into contact with something happy and rich. Imagine coming here and saying, oh, how beautiful your villa is. And this is where he was. So built in the mid-17th, 1740. And as I turn around, you've got to be prepared for this because, you know, this series is called Forgotten Beauty, and I'm going to search for this, but I've started. In fact, this is quite bad because I'm starting from the best. I should have started from something in the middle, but I'm starting from what I felt was one of the best examples of Baroque architecture, which is totally forgotten. And hopefully soon, maybe, I heard, who knows, if it's been purchased by somebody, maybe an American, I don't know, it may be turned into something amazing. But I hope really that the beauty that this place had and the energy gets that's all right, I just heard something around me, gets reinstated to the former glory. So are you ready? This is really an amazing building. So as I turn around, welcome to Villa Scrasceta or Villa dei Pupi. I'm going to take you in and I'm going to show you some elements of architecture which make of this building a unique property here in Salento, or a unique piece of history. In fact, it is protected by the beni culturali, so not many changes can really be done, and hopefully they will respect everything that comes from this villa. Now, first of all, here on the side we have a chapel. I think people think in some crazy mumbo jumbo stuff and they come here and they do some rituals. So there are some writing on the walls. Don't be scared. Some people may think that the place is possessed, but that's another story. We really love to see the beauty. So we're going to go and look into the chapel in a minute. So these people had everything here, from the stables, from the storage, from the chapel where every Sunday the people working the land around there could congregate and could celebrate Mass here in the actual villa. But first of all, I think we want to look at this crest and how beautiful this is. The amount of detail, and this was left completely during the Mussolini years, so around about the mid-1940s, that was the last time that this property had people living in it. And you could tell by the crest of the family, this was extremely wealthy. It was a baron that owned it. And the balcony at the top, which according to some old photographs, the balcony has changed. The balcony protruded outside. It had a big, rich balcony overlooking the patio here on the outside, which was then probably changed to a different style of architecture. But still, that alcove at the top tells us quite a lot about the property. So yes, this was not Masseria where people really had to work and protect themselves. This were a place that they came in the summer to really enjoy it. The sea is only about 2 kilometers from here, so they could just hop to, well, I mean, in them days, really, they didn't go to the sea. It's not like today, we go and sit on the beach or, no, but it was near the sea. It was more like the freshness and coming out from the city. So let's step inside. And I'm going to show you something quite magic. So I want to build up to it because it is quite special. Inside it's all right. There is no crazy or dangerous creatures around. But can we have a look at already these details above the doors? And we have it above there. Now, can you look at that? That's not an entrance to something else. This was where they stored perhaps bottles or liqueurs or food, la dispensa in Italian. So it was a little bit like a storage where they kept all the things in there. And so when guests were coming, they opened that, and it was like a huge bar. You know, like now you have a bar and you offer your guests something. Already back in the 1750, late 1700s, they were entertaining, and entertaining was very important. Music was extremely important, and a lot of the details upstairs apparently have been lost, but that atmosphere that we had coming through there with the statues playing the tambourine and the guitar and drinking and eating was also upstairs with affreschi, which unfortunately has been lost. So already it's interesting to understand how important it was for them to entertain. And that detail, which is in plaster, it's around every single door. I like how some elements have survived. Unfortunately, not very much. They still open up. Hinges were very, very clever in them days, because all you have, it's a little round cast iron with another hook in there, and that worked as an hinge. And already for me, these doors or these elements have survived. They're pieces of art. They should be kept, and they could become almost like wall hangings that can be kept forever. Because I think, you know, when I often talk about legacy, I think when we talk about legacy, it's elements like this. Well, here actually we have them both. Look, on this one here, we have them both. Wow. Look. And also this was locked. So the locks, they've disappeared because they're probably quite collectibles, and people have stolen, well, they've stolen everything, but because it's open. And but this tells us that potentially the things that they kept in this cupboard were quite important, and then they really needed to protect it. So they're turn the key. You can never trust the family. You never know who's in the family. Probably somebody that likes drinking. So they probably kept everything under lock. But it's so funny. It's fantastic. And with the beams on the side, so one there, one here, and that tells us that there were shelves, and surely they were keeping valuable items or drinks or food. The ceilings, well, what can I say? It's got a wonderful detail there in the center. But you may ask yourself, what are these metal things running across? Can you see them? Hold on, let me just see if I can turn around. Can you see them? There is some metal wires, loads of metal wires. What are they? Well, back in the 1950s and 60s, well, there was a decline. Obviously, this was left abandoned. And the biggest thing that they were cultivating around there was tobacco. And tobacco, after they worked the actual leaf of the tobacco, they left it outside to dry on these wooden frames. They would just hook them on to dry. And after they were dried, they would collect them up and making this big bundle. And then they would hang it. They will hang the bundles from the ceiling, and they will leave it here for at least a couple of months for it to become really dry and crunchy. After that, it was stored into boxes, and then it was collected and taken to one of the many tabacchificio places where they did, not anymore, they worked the tobacco. I know that you're looking at me, but you're looking at the beautiful details around, and it's just incredible. I've spent over an hour in this place before starting this video, and it's just so much, it's so beautiful. So they used to make these bundles, and then after they used to hang them to let them dry. Oh, that's a beautiful sound. That's a falcon, a small falcon that keeps flying over here. And as we're moving around, we got these beautiful rooms, all with star vaulted ceilings, and yes, you can see the metal strings along, and yes, that is a witness of this place being used as a storage area. Details like that, incredible. That's a very, very, very deep well that can be found right inside the building. So there was obviously a door here protecting anybody from having access and an accident perhaps happening. But then that's a very deep well. And these cuts that you see here, well, that tells us that they used to use a bucket and sort of lowering a cord and then pulling it up by hand And so yes, that's left those traces. I'm actually looking to see, because a lot of the times there was also a mechanism that allowed them, but I can't see that. So yes, this was a well that they used to pull things by hand. And here, totally ready to be destroyed, but beautiful for me. It's a lot of the original frames of the doors which have been pulled out, probably done around about, I would say, 1940s, 1930s. And elements of the original locks which are still here. Beautiful. All of this was all handmade. And it's so many, it's beautiful, the wood, and probably a lot of the local wood was used to do this. And very wealthy family, so everything they did was to show how wealthy they were, and beautiful doors and windows, everything in wood. But yeah, this rooms is a little bit sad because we have all these elements that are just been left here, and who knows what's going to happen to them. Wow, amazing. I'm going to leave the best until the end, so you better watch, because I'm going to show you the best. Well, before I go upstairs, I think I want to go back outside again, and I want to show you the chapel. The place where, oh, look at this. This is something, yes. I almost forgotten about this. Look at this fresco. I'm not going to touch it, but can you see the details? Somebody's actually gone over with a pencil, just bringing back some of the details of the fresco. Wow. Very, very special. Very, very special. And we have another one right opposite on the other side. And this one as well, they probably have tried. I don't know what they've done actually. They've messed it up big time, but they kind of outlined some of the elements. So this we're looking at 17th century, good examples of real frescoes. And let's step back outside and have a look at the chapel. Like I said, people do come here and perhaps do some crazy things. So look at that. Not much to say apart from demons written at the top there, but what a special place. So can you imagine back in 17th century, 18th century, all the workers and the farmers around here, they gathered here on a Sunday, and they could have access here and have a mass here, and what a special things. There's still some candles here, so I think they do come here and do some weird things, and probably there was a beautiful fresco as well, which there's not much left, but amazing the details of the stucco, that it's all the way around, and the altar, fantastic, these details. I love the blue as well. I think it's because they used to use lime to paint in them days. There was no chemicals, so calce, and so which used to also be good because it used to keep all the insects away, especially the mosquitoes. But beautiful, this blue. What a lovely color. So this is the chapel, which is attached to the house. So whoever had, and this was probably it's been ripped out. This is where the holy water would have been kept. Wow. Little window up there with a lovely lizard that it's moving around. A gecko, actually, not a lizard. It's full of geckos around there, and it's full of lizard. But those ones are actually geckos. And let's have a look what's here. So let's go and have a look upstairs, and then I'm going to show you one of the most beautiful parts of this building, which make it a very rare find. So we quickly, oh yes, I'm not going to spend too much time, but this opens up all the way to the side, and obviously the stables. So the rich people lived here, but also they needed to look after their animals. You know, they had people looking after their animals, and their animals here, they wanted to keep everything on site. So they had a stable with another well in there. And now we're going up the stairs, and from up here they controlled everything. They could see probably all the land that they had around, and yeah, and they call it the noble floor or piano nobile because, well, it was a sign of wealth to live upstairs. As we're coming up here, interesting, they kind of reproduce the alcove that we have the affresco. From here, we can see the path leading to the main entrance that we did earlier. And so this was where the pupi, or the statues, were kept. So imagine when everything was clean and tidy, very wealthy, how beautiful it must have been to stand up here and look at this with all the statues up here. And then, look at this. So there was obviously a statue there with a saint, which is gone, like all the other statues have gone, everything is gone. Good thing they couldn't take they couldn't take the building away. I think they would have taken that one as well, but at least they've left that. But anyway, so that fantastic detail again over there. And then these are the rooms which some work must have started, and so a lot of the details have disappeared up here, which is a little bit of a shame. But an interesting historic element here is being kept, and it's this on the floor. We have 3 openings. Yes, this is lovely, very contemporary. We're not in an art gallery. We haven't switched from a 17th century villa in Salento to an art gallery. But it's just what young people, they love doing when they come up here. And we have the slogan of Salento, which is Suca. I think you'll have to Google it. I'm not going to tell you what it means, but yeah, it's there. It's a good sign. And then we have these 3 wells at the bottom, which is interesting. They're upstairs rather than downstairs. And you can also imagine we're upstairs, so how big the cavity is between the 2 floors. These are at least 2 meters deep. I don't want to fall in there because that wouldn't come out. They're about 2 meters deep, and they used to use them to store grain. So food, especially grain, was stored here and then probably sold to the local community. Oh, the sound of... And this... Did I tell you that the production of wine was big? Oh, they've gone quiet now, all the crickets. But that's all a vineyard. As you can see, that's all a vineyard all along here. And this is a very fertile land here in Nardò. We're very close to Nardò. And as we're still going up, we're going to the roof. We're going to have a 360 up here of how beautiful the surrounding area here. I love to hear all the sounds of nature up here. So we're right on the top of the world now, and I'm going to do a 360. And this is what you have around here. So in the distance over there, you can't see it in the video, but that's the water. And in the distance over there, we've got Nardò. And down here, we have a secret garden, because although they were surrounded by land, these rich people, they needed a garden. So this was a garden. We don't know what they cultivated in this garden, but one thing is for sure, they have probably had a lot of oranges and that kind of fruit trees, lemon trees, and there's still examples of those, and 2 beautiful arches and a big one at the bottom marking the entrance to this beautiful garden. So it's kind of had multiple access points to the garden. So now we're upstairs, we're looking at the beautiful countryside all the way around us. I'm going to show you the last element of this extraordinary find and forgotten beauty. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. And also, these are the original fire of the chimneys. The way they were built here, you can only find them in this region, in this particular area, this round shape with these holes all the way around. Beautiful. It must have been amazing in them days not to worry about anymore about incursions of the Turkish, because a lot of the masseria around here had a big tower, and the tower was used mainly to look and make sure that no one was arriving to rob them, you know, especially pirates that were arriving from the sea, and they were just robbing everybody. So beautiful to see that they didn't need to worry about that. So all their attention in the architecture went on to the luxury, went on to the enjoyment Well, people all around the world now, they're kind of turning that around again, and they're turning these places into some contemporary buildings with so much beauty, just reinstating a lot of those very rare elements. And I think that's what makes Salento one of those really, really special places, that you can still find beautiful things. Okay, now I'm ready to show you, I think, what it is. One of the best examples of Baroque architecture in a forgotten beauty building. And as I turn around, here you have it. I'm going to leave you to enjoy it. That's a well. It's a very rare find. It's got a sign numbered here at the bottom. This is a protected piece of architecture. I can guarantee you there is not that many around. Having a property that contains a piece of architecture, just touching it makes me feel special. It gives me superpowers. Just the idea that water was collected, thrown into this, and they probably had a mechanism that the water was pushed and channeled all the way around the garden, creating some really beautiful water features back in the 1800s, early 1800s, because this was built in the beginning of 17th century. Isn't it special? And the symmetry, because from everywhere you are standing, the gate to the secret garden, it's in line with the gate and the entrance to the door and the entrance to the main road. So as you're standing over here, and actually if everything was cleaned up and you were standing at the bottom of the garden where there is another extraordinary historic gate, then you'd be standing here looking at 1, 2, oh the echo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gates. 7. 7 is a very important number. Yes, number 7, it's a very important number. You may want to look it up. It was no coincidence that they've done 7 gates to actually get outside the building. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's so much more that I could show you, and I just want to finish it, I think, with the well in the background, because this was and still is for me one of the most beautiful finds. If you come to Salento, I'm happy to sneak you in. That's if we can do that. That's if I don't get arrested in the meantime. I'm happy to sneak you in and show you these secret beauties that can be found in Salento. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe. I'm still going to search for more beauty, and you can put a like or just leave a comment. I really enjoyed to hear what you think about architecture and the beauty and the forgotten beauty that can be found here in Salento. Thank you for watching.